Daniel Beaumont and welcome to Get Published TV. This is the only dedicated show on the internet to help authors and aspiring authors to write, publish and market their own best-selling book. Now in today's episode, actually in the last episode, we were talking about the 5 biggest reasons of why you should sell your book in bookstores. And if that kind of is a bit confusing to you as to why I would say that, then watch the last episode, then come back and continue watching this episode right now, because now we're going to talk about the 5 reasons why you should not sell your book in bookstores. And then we're going to have a bit of a conversation either at the end if we've got time, or maybe tomorrow, where we're going to look at making that decision, weighing up the pros and cons and deciding which way to go. Alright, so the reasons why you should not sell in bookstores. Number 1 is it's highly competitive and it's also very price sensitive. Now, if you go into any bookshop, and it's a major bookshop, look at any section and there are hundreds, if not sometimes thousands of books. And it's very highly competitive, and oftentimes, all you've got to really sell your book is just the spine. That's pretty much it. So it's hard to really stand out. So one of the little tips that you can do is go in and find your book if it's faced like that, and move some books aside and turn it and face the front. Your books will sell a lot quicker and faster if they're facing out as opposed to facing with their spine out. So cover out is what you need to go for. That's just a sort of a sideline point there, but it's very competitive, and unless you go around and turn them all out, you're really, you're going to find it difficult to sell a huge amount of copies unless you have people going into the bookshops specifically to buy your book because they've heard about it through a friend, or they've seen you on television, or heard you on radio, seen an article from you, got an email from someone. So that's why marketing is so important. So, but without any promotion, it's highly competitive and it's price sensitive, meaning that if you've got 2 business books, because a lot of people don't take the time to sit there and read and compare every single line. They'll look at it, they'll kind of feel it, and if it's a gift for someone, they might not even read, the blurb on the back cover. They might just go, well, this one's $24.95, this one's $19.95, then I'll just buy this one. So they're not as interested, in the quality as they are in the price. So it can be very price sensitive, and so therefore, if you're pricing yourself above other books, then you can find that you're not going to make as much sales. So that's number 1. Number 2 is you have to give away a large percentage of the recommended retail price. Now, if you self-publish, it's up to 70% that you're giving away, because you're normally going to have to pay your distributor, and then the bookshop is going to take, or the bookstore is going to take their margin as well. So you're left with about 30%, out of which you need to take your expenses. So you may be left with maybe 10 or 15% of the recommended retail price, maybe more, but that's being pretty conservative. Or if you go through a publisher, then you're only going to get 10%, sometimes even 6 or 7%. So you only get a very small percentage of the recommended retail price. That's because the bookshops are taking the largest chunk, and then your distributor and publisher is taking another sizable chunk as well. The 3rd reason is that it typically takes quite a while to get paid. Now, every country has slightly different rules, or or I suppose guide of to how you get paid and when you get paid. But just to let you know how my distributor works, because books are normally sold to the bookstores at what's called a sale or return policy. So they either sell the book, or if they don't sell it within, I think it's 60 to 90 days, they can return it for a full credit, meaning that they don't actually pay for it. They just get back, a replacement books, and they can then send it back. So the bookstore can't actually, your book distributor, or sometimes your book publisher, can't give you 100% of the revenue because they have to allow for returns. So the way my book distributor works is, I think they pay me half of the money. So if they owe me, $100, they pay me $50 in 90 days, and then they pay me the other 50%, the other $50 in 1 year. So basically what that means is it can be up to a year before you get paid your money from books that are actually sold. So for a lot of people, that's just way too long, and they struggle with having enough money to do a second print run because the bookstores, the distributors are demanding another 5,000, 10,000 books because they want to sell them, but you haven't even got paid for the 5,000 or 10,000 that you've already given them. So that can be a real challenge for a lot of people. So if you can negotiate a better deal, meaning getting more money coming in quicker and faster, like maybe 50% in 90 days, and then maybe your other 50% within 6 months or something along those lines, then that can be much, much better. Now that's if you self-publish. If you go through a major publisher, then of course you normally get paid in advance, which we'll talk about later on, which is a chunk of money up front, which is basically money that they're prepaying you out of your future royalties. So what they basically do is that they pay you maybe 10 grand or 20 grand up front. You write the book, you give them the manuscript, they do all of their bits and pieces, and then the first $20,000 that you make in royalties, the 10% component goes to the publisher to kind of pay off that advance, and then after that, only then do you start receiving income. So, if you've got a big advance, then sometimes it can be 6 months to a year worth of your book being sold before you get back into the black, and then you actually start making more profit. So that's another reason why bookstores can actually be frustrating to deal with, is because it takes a long time to get paid. Number 4 is what I was kind of referring to, that books are sold on a sale or return policy. So what that means is if they don't sell the books within a period of time, they can pass them back for a full credit. So you think, oh wow, I've just sold 5,000 books this month. No, it means 5,000 books have gone into bookstores, but you don't know how many of those are going to come back. Now, if you have a great book, then ideally none of them will come back, and you've sold all 5,000, and you'll get paid for all 5,000 books, and hopefully you'll go through the process again, and the numbers will grow even beyond. However, I've heard many cases whereby people have sold think that they've sold 5,000 books, and 3,000 or sometimes 4,000 books come back because there was no publicity, there was no interest, there was no hype around the book, no marketing, and therefore no one knew about the book, and most of those books then came back. So that is it's why it's very important to make sure that you're timing your marketing and promotion to hit with that impact to avoid those returns, because you can be budgeting for all this money coming in and you find that you're only getting half of that, and that could really hurt your business significantly. The last one that I'm going to share with you right now is that bookstores normally, not always, but oftentimes give preferential treatment to major publishers. So if you're actually a self-published author, then sometimes you can actually get pushed to the the very side or the very back of the bookshelves, and because they're the publishers are the ones that normally pay the bookstores for primary placement. So sometimes they have boxes where they actually store lots of the books, or they pay for advertising with that particular chain's magazine. So therefore they give those big publishers preferential treatment. And sometimes as a self-publisher you can be pushed to the background. That's not always the case. I've obviously been able to get a lot of good placements and be just as competitive with major publishers' books. So there are things that you can do differently, but I'm just letting you know here are what the restrictions are, here are the challenges. Now we need to figure out ways around those so we can position our book in a much better way to have more success. So now I've given you the pros and cons, why you should sell your book in bookshops and why you should not sell your book in bookshops. Hopefully you've got some good value from this particular episode. I've got through it. I'm going to take a big drink of water right now, and because I've been talking quite fast and my kind of mouth is trying to catch up to my brain. But please leave us your comments below. We're sharing with you lots of good information, so please, as a way of giving back, leave us your comments. Only has to be short, or leave us a question and I'd be more than happy to answer it in a future episode of Get Published TV. This is Dale Beaumont signing off. Thanks for watching. See you next time.